I'm back on my boat. Before I get too started, that's good English. Before I get started, I want to cover a few things based on the last little video experiment I did and a certain thing that was accidentally announced. Thank you all for bearing with me as I took that last video that was like an hour and 11 minutes long and I broke it up into 4 pieces. The comments on your preference were very much appreciated. Combining those comments with how the videos did, yeah, I don't think that was a very successful experiment. No regrets. This is how I learn. I have to try things, and sometimes they don't work out. But I think I'm going to be going back to the longer format videos. I'm going to try to keep them all under an hour, but it kind of makes sense. It's what I've been doing since I started the channel, and deviating to shorter, I kind of felt unnatural. I wasn't too big of a fan of it. I would rather have the longer format. It's more true to my style. And I think that's the biggest thing I heard from you guys is just be yourself. So there you go. The second thing I want to talk about was some time back, someone asked me if I was going to set up a Patreon. And I said at the time, no. And conversation went on. And I said, well, look, maybe if I ever hit 10,000 subscribers, then I'll consider myself a real enough channel to be worth setting up a Patreon. But after that conversation, I decided I would set up an account just to secure my name. Well, a couple fantastic people found it. Oz and Moz and Damien and Jess from Project Brewpeg. I'm looking at you guys. I didn't know what to do with it for a while, so I didn't do anything. But as the months went on, I really felt like I should do something to show my appreciation for the support. So, as you saw in the last 4 videos, I had a closing card where I was thanking them specifically. And I guess I launched my Patreon without expecting it, because now I think there's like 7 more Patreons. Patreons? I'm not quite sure what the term is. Damn! I was not ready for that at all. Obviously, my first thing I want to say is to those of you who've joined my Patreon, like, holy shit, talk about a burst of confidence. I made a little video for each of you to thank you individually. I don't know if the messages got through on Patreon, so if you did sign up, check to see if there's a little video from you. It's not much, it's just basically me saying thank you. A lot of people, their YouTube channels, their projects, that's their livelihood. And for them, they say, this wouldn't be possible without you. And it's 100% true for the majority of them. For me, I'm going to do this no matter what. Not in any way, shape, or form to say I don't appreciate the help. The Patreon help is going to help pay for some of the parts, absolutely. And the confidence boost alone is just fantastic. But I don't want anyone to sign up to be a patron because you think I need it. I mean, I'm torn. These posts are expensive. It's definitely going to be a help. But don't anyone please ever feel obligated. Simply watching these videos, something I've resisted saying for a long time, liking and subscribing to these videos, it feeds the algorithm and it helps the community grow. And that's been my single biggest desire since I started this channel, was to build this channel and this community to encourage people to take on their own projects. Anyone who subscribes, that's what you're going to be helping with. And I'm sorry if I sound like I'm rambling, but it's just mind-blowing to me. Thank you doesn't feel like a strong enough word. I guess it's 2 words. Okay, enough with that. What are we doing today? The first thing is, despite my best effort, I couldn't finish the batteries in time to come down on this trip. However, I think that's going to prove out to be a good thing, because since I've got onto the boat, I looked at where the black water tank was under the nav station, and I've got a decent amount of space there, as I expected. But more importantly, I looked under the quarter berth, and there were 2 more AGM. I thought they were lead acid, but they were AGM batteries inside the quarter berth underneath it, as well as the 2 outside that I could see from the engine bay. There's meters on them. I have to pull them apart to see whether they're healthy or not. Any ones that are dead, I'm going to remove. I may drop down to just 2 anyway for the trip home. Why this matters, I think what I can do is, instead of doing 2 separate 280 amp hour 1P4S batteries, I think I now have enough space to do a 2P4S battery, one in the box under the nav station like I had originally planned, and the other one under the quarter berth. Meaning, I may be able to get the full first generation 48 volt pack into the boat as 2 560 amp hour 12 volt batteries. Meaning I'll have 14 kilowatt hours on my 12 volt bank. Add that to the 86 kilowatt hours, a little better than 86 kilowatt hours I have on the main propulsion bank, and I crest 100 kilowatt hours that's going to come onto this boat, which is just ridiculously stupid in the very best way. So oh, you can tell I'm kind of a little happy about that. So that's okay. It means that when I get back home, the 12 volt project is not over, because now I need to break them apart and figure out how to do them. The one in the quarter berth is going to have to be 8 long. The one under the nav station has to be 2x4 configuration. So I'm going to have to do 2 separate layouts to make them work. So there's more work to come on the 12 volt, and I'm really excited. And once they're done, I'll figure out the boxes. The next thing, and this is where this video is going to be a little bit odd for this channel, I need to do engine work. More specifically, I need to do fuel system work. So any of you who've ever worked on diesels, you might notice I have a couple of products. A good friend of mine, Amy Rowe, she came down last weekend, and she sat down with me and we looked over the engine, and what's the polite way to say she's a lot worse than I expected. In a second, I'm going to show you in the fuel filter bowl, you can see a layer of black scum. I think that's diesel bug. And if there's that much in the fuel filter, the diesel tanks are probably filled with it. Diesel bug, I didn't know this. I don't know if it's a bacteria or what, but there's actually something that can live in diesel tanks. And as it dies, it falls to the bottom and turns to like a black sludge. This is a biocide. It's good for 1,280 gallons. I've got a 30-gallon tank. Overkill much, but whatever. Something else we haven't talked about yet is I'm probably keeping the diesel tank now for a diesel heater. I got a lot to update you on the boat. Key thing is, I bought this because I need to save the tank. I don't need to save the tank. I want to save the tank. But more importantly, as I plan for this big trip home, I've been looking to figure out what are the most likely things to cause a breakdown on the trip home, because I'm going to take the mast off and I'm going to be a motorboat, a diesel motorboat, as much as I hate that, until I get her home. And so what causes breakdowns? And the biggest thing I saw was fuel problems. So I started trying to figure out what kind of fuel problems there are on a diesel boat, because I really don't know much about diesel engines at all. Clogs. So this diesel bug, or more specifically the stuff that's been there before and then died, if it gets stirred up, like say we're coming along the Atlantic Ocean, along the Jersey Shore, and I'm taking some heavy waves, all of that kludge in the bottom of the tank is going to get mixed up, and if it gets sucked in, the diesel filter, or the diesel filter isn't going to be able to stop it, and it could choke. Or some of it will get past the filter if the filter's shot, which, I mean, probably is on this thing, and gets through and actually clogs an injector, and then I'm truly in trouble. The first stage is I've got to add 3/4 of an ounce, America, I don't know what that is. 3/4 of this little side thingy here. I fill up and I pour it into the tank, and then I'm just going to leave it for a few days. And what that should do is it should kill all of the bug that's still in the tank and give it time to die and settle down to the bottom of the tank. Once that's done, I bought a little diesel jerry can I don't have here, but this is like I don't know if you can see inside. Actually, let me just open it. Tim at Lady K told me this. Can you see in there? Sorry, the lighting is really crap on here because I don't have my lights, but there's a little filter in here you can see. So you pour the bad diesel in and it will capture and filter out debris, so only clean diesel comes out. So I'm going to put this into the top of the jerry can, and I'm going to siphon the diesel off into here and let it pour down to the jerry can. Now, the jerry can's only 5 US gallons. I have 30 gallons, give or take, in the tank because I filled it up before the end of the year. Dumb in hindsight, but there we are. But I've got access to a 55-gallon drum. So I'm going to fill up the 5-gallon, pour it into the drum, repeat until all of the diesel's out. Then I'm going to try to take the diesel tank out, and there's no access ports in it. Meaning, I have to drill access holes to physically get my hand in there with like a drywall knife I had to scrape up and get rid of all of the crap that's out of there. And there's probably baffle, so I may have to do that a couple of times to get my hand into all of it. Hit it with a heat gun to make sure, again, out of the boat. Hit it with a heat gun to try to dry everything out and kill everything, get it as clean as I can, and then somehow close up those access ports I've made, put it back in, and I'm probably going to be replacing the diesel lines going to the diesel filter, and I'm going to replace the diesel filter itself, so that the diesel system should be, as a fuel system, should be as clean as possible for the trip home, and hopefully I don't break down. Okay, so that was a lot of talking. Let's get to work. I'm going to apologize right off the bat. I'm freehanding my Canon because its video quality is so much better than the GoPro, but its stabilization isn't. There we go. So let me see if I can light this up. Ah, there we go. So you see the sludge on the bottom of the fuel bowl? So normally what happens is The fuel comes from the tank to this, and there's a filter in there, like your standard fuel filter, oil filter, just a paper filter that filters to 30 micron, and the diesel comes out the bottom, or where does the diesel go? It comes in the top and then comes out the top. The water sinks, and you're supposed to check this bowl to see if there's any water in it, and if there is, you can open this up and the water falls out, and it's a way to separate the water from the diesel. Oh, I should mention, when Amy was here, one of the things I wanted to check was to see where the smoke was coming from when I started the engine. The smoke was not coming from the electrical. It was coming from the exhaust. So that's a wet exhaust back there, that little drum type thing. So I think there is enough back pressure that the smoke puffed out, and that's what I saw waft across the screen. So if I've got that much debris in the oil filter, you can imagine how much I must have in my diesel tank. So we're gonna go down there in a minute, but first, let's get the biocide into the diesel tank. Whoa! Do not drop the camera in the water. I have no idea if you can see anything right now, but, well, if you're seeing this, then something was visible. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to film this. I'll try to, but I have to figure out how this works. But it says it's ½ ounce per 20 gallons, so I need to get the line to about here, and then open this cap and pour it down there. How does this work? This stuff was not cheap, and this is probably literally an entire lifetime supply for this boat. But a friend of mine said, well, it's okay. Everyone needs this, so you'll be able to trade people things. Oh, how do I get this over into that? Can I do that? How do I get it? How does this work? Do I need to take one of them off? Do I take that side off first? How does this work? I don't want to spill it. Oh, shit, I'm spilling it. How does this work? Oh, now I need to go get some paper towel. I think it snowed last night. Okay, I'm gonna put this back here briefly and see if there's a way to RTFM this, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sure someone's watching this and saying, yeah, you're supposed to just do X, Y, Z. If only this was real-time interactive. Well, that stuff smells horrible. Oh, apparently you don't want to get it on your skin, and I've got it on my skin. Rinse skin immediately with plenty of water for 15 to 20 minutes. Wow, I should be wearing gloves. Okay, noted. Blending and dispensing instructions. And after the fuel tank is approximately half full, beginning adding well, it's too late now. Squeeze the sides of container lightly in order to fill measure control device. Oh, I see. I squeeze it like this, and it fills up. Oh, now that I know the trick, that's not hard at all. Okay, I think that's enough. The problem now is that it's going to stick to the side of the hose when I pour it in. Should I overdo it to account for that? And I know I'm supposed to mix up the fuel, but I don't know how to mix up the fuel because the boat's stationary and I can't move the boat because of fuel problems. Maybe I can bang on the side of the can to try to mix it up? Maybe I can take the hose off. That's what I'll try doing. I'll try taking the hose off and pouring it right into the can. Okay, now I know how this works. I'm gonna go rinse my hands and get ready for that. I'm gonna turn off the camera for a second. I closed up the fuel cap thingamajig. So now, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to film this, but I'm gonna take these two off and try to pull this off, and I'll try to pour the biocide right down the fuel filler. As you can see there's no access hatch. There's a small little sender hole, but that's it. I'm gonna have to take this strap off and the strap on the far side off after I've drained the tank and try to lift it up and out through the lazarette. I hope I can do that. I have no idea if I can or not. Anyways, I'll be right back once I get that off. Apparently you need to be a lot stronger than I am. I can't budge this. I mean, I have to get this off to siphon the tank, so, and to pull the tank out, so one way or another, I've got to figure it out. I mean, normally I would hit it with heat to see if that would soften it, but obviously I'm a little bit reluctant to do that over a diesel tank. Now, it is diesel, not petrol, but still. Okay, I'm gonna put the camera down and keep trying to fight this. New plan. I know for you that was that, but for me, that's been a few minutes. I went and talked to the mechanic at the yard, and he's loaned me these to try to pull the hose off of the diesel tank. Now, I was doing that because I wanted to pour the biocide into it, but I was asking him about the concern about where the label said to fill it half the tank and then pour it in and then fill the other half of the tank. That was so that everything got really mixed up so that the biocide could get all through the diesel and kill everything. I can't do that because my tank's already full and I can't move the tank. So while I was talking to him, The yard is also letting me use their 55-gallon drum that they use for storing diesel. It's empty right now. So I think what I'm going to do is this weekend, so you'll probably see this in the next video, I'm going to bring the 55-gallon drum to the boat and I'm going to start siphoning off the diesel. When I've siphoned off half of it, I'll pour the biocide into the drum, and then I'll pour the other half in there and I can give the drum a good shake around and make sure it's all mixed up nicely. Let that sit for a few days. It's going to take me a few days to clean out the tank anyway, and then by the time I'm done, the bug that's now in the barrel should have died and settled out. I'll have cleaned out the tank by then, and then what I'll do is when I siphon the diesel back into the tank, I can run it through this filter funnel thingy. It'll take forever, but I don't care. And as soon as I see any debris, I just stop. And whatever diesel's left in the barrel at that point, I just get rid of it. I'm not going to use it anymore. So with that, I need to go back in here and try to pry the, oh jeez. I got into sailing because I want to get some exercise, and boy do I need it. I think I am going to break out the GoPro because I'm really worried about breaking my Canon, and it'd be too expensive to replace it right now. And I mean, I talked before about how the whole point of the GoPro is to be a danger cam. So I'm going to pry that off and then slide it back on just to know that I can get it off, because I got to give the tools back tomorrow. And then while I'm down there, I'm going to show you some of the other stuff I need to fix. There's a bunch of electrical work I need to do. Now, you can tell by the long shadows, the sun doesn't stay up for very long here. So I'll film as much as I can, but I apologize if some of it gets skipped. I should also mention, I think I said earlier that I wasn't going to film things that weren't electrical related. I've changed my mind. You guys in your comments have generally been saying things like, we're here for the project, and whatever that means. So I'm going to show the whole project. Although I had a few people a little bit upset when I talked about the head and, you know, dealing with biological waste. I get that. I'm sorry. If you're into boating, you kind of get used to that, because it's an inescapable part of living on a small boat. I'm sure it's the same for RVers, but I will try to keep the head discussions to a minimum from now on. I understand why that would bother some people, so sorry about that. Okay, let's switch over to the GoPro. And hello from the GoPro. All right, I need to find the little stand I had for it. I think I have it around here somewhere. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Oh Lord, that biocide smells horrible. I'm gonna go wash my hands again. I'm gonna have to go to the car to find the little tripod thingy. Yes, I am. Back again. I am just winning right now. I turned off the camera thinking I was gonna climb in the lazarette, and then 3.5 hours went later because things blew up at work. Are you noticing a theme here? Oh, it's harsh shadows. Oh, that's better shadows. I can't find the tripod mount for the GoPro, so I can't set that up. I'm gonna go in there and try to pry it open and see what I can do. I think I should rename the channel Digi's Shit Show. Anyways, let's go see what we can do. I have got, where are they? I have hooks kindly loaned to me by the yard mechanic that I have to give back in the morning, so I have to get this done tonight. And I should mention, it is now freezing, like 1 or 0 degrees Celsius. It is freezing literally and figuratively right now. So I'm gonna try to do a little more than get this hose off tonight and call it a night. Close that back up to keep some of the heat in. All right. I should probably get a proper hammer. I have a proper hammer, but I have to go back inside the boat. Well, inside the human compartment. I think this longer one was working better. I want to bet this is the original hose, and this is the first time it's ever been taken off. On the good side, the hose doesn't seem to be cracking. Okay, I think I need the actual hammer. Go me. I was sure I brought a hammer. All right, well, I got a dead weight. Hopefully that'll do the job. No, this is not going to work. Oh, maybe. Yeah, see, it's bound. I can feel it. I can see that it's connected all the way up to here. I need a real hammer. This isn't working. Wow, and I thought I was going to take this off with my hands. That was funny. Oh, 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 oh. Is she moving? Oh, it's coming off. It's coming off. I should get gloves, but then I'd have to go back inside again. How much do I care? No, don't lose. Ew, 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 ew. It fell down into there. Yeah, that's really gross. Okay. It's coming off though. Okay. All right. We broke the seal. Yeah, I'm gonna get it now. I'm gonna get it now. Oh, fuck. Well, I'm not cold anymore. That's a good thing. You can see that. So this hose is the one I'm trying to pull off, but it's fouling up against, this is the deck drain for the scupper that goes overboard when I get water into the cockpit. It's stiff. I mean, it doesn't help that it's literally almost freezing out. Enough bitching, more banging. Oh shit, you can't really see anything, can you? I am the best videographer ever. Get off, you. Okay, I can see, there it is. It's off. That's what I had to do tonight. Oh, pardon the strobing. Now that I know I can get this off, I can put that back on to keep the diesel fumes from getting out. I have a little laparoscopic camera that I'm going to try to put the light like this on tomorrow and then shove it down and see just how nasty it is in there. I can't really see how flat the bottom of this tank is. Looking at the tank, if it goes flat across, then that means the very bottom of the tank is like here, if I'm gonna guess. Meaning I have to get my siphon, if I put the 5-gallon jerry can down here, I have to get the end of the hose when I siphon it lower than the bottom of here for the siphon to work. Now, I got a fairly long hose, so I may be able to put the jerry can all the way down there if I need to get it even lower. Or maybe I'll just get a pump and pump it out. I haven't decided yet, but the point is, I've got this off, I can start siphoning the tank. Oh, you know what? The tank, it slopes up towards the back. You can see the size here is larger than the size back there, which means they've probably shaped it this way, meaning the bottom is even lower. And can you see that? That is the pickup. That's going to have a pipe that goes down to near the bottom of the tank. Another option I have, if this proves to be too tedious, is there should be a priming bulb on that line somewhere in the front. If it does, I might be able to use the priming bulb to bleed it into the jerry can down here. Anyways, I have lots to figure out. I have to give those hooks back in the morning, and now they did their job. I got the hose off. I'm very happy. I'm cold, but I'm very happy. Let me get this back on. Oh, that was too far. There we go. That'll keep the fumes out for tonight. So, while I'm in here, why don't I show you some of the other fun stuff I found? So I don't think the lighting will be any better in the day. I have a lot to fix in this trip. First of all, that is my alternator. I cannot find a nameplate on it anywhere. I don't know what this alternator is. In fact, I'll put this video up and see if maybe one of you brilliant people will know. There's I don't know if you can see the tag right there. I'll try to get it on film. On film? How old am I? Can I get it to focus on that? But if I'm reading it right, it is a Lestech 8003. I think it's an 8. It might be a 5. You can probably even see that better than I can. That's the only nameplate I can find. I have no idea what the capabilities of this inverter are, or that alternator are. Looking forward, that's my starter. That's the starter cable. That is bare exposed copper. That's not normal. This is the rubber shielding, and it's just dried and cracked and splitting in the wind. So I'm going to try to get some liquid electrical tape to close that up for the trip home. Right, so then I've got this lovely problem. I don't know what this wire is, but as you can see, to say it's hanging on by a strand is a bit generous to strands. I got to re-terminate this wire. It looks like it was literally just bare copper run around this screw. So I gotta get that done. This air box, I'll show you what's inside of it. It is a joke. So I opened it up. I already scraped away a lot of the paint. That, you can see, has a little bit of foam on it. Do you want to guess where the rest of the foam went? I suspect into the engine. The airbox itself is rusted and the paint's peeling. That's after I scraped it out with my hands, much of which you can see is now there. I've got a Brillo pad. I'm going to scrape this to get as much of the loose stuff off as I can, and I might hit it with some high temperature paint just for the trip home. I'm not going to bother replacing the filter. I don't think it matters. Not for the one trip home. What's it going to suck in inside the engine bay on the trip home? It's not like it's sucking in bugs or anything through a front grille. Amy was helping me trace a bunch of the wires. I've got a bit of a better feel for what's going on. Oh, so here's some of the old electrical gear. This, I think, is the old battery charger. And when I say old, I mean old. But it's in the off and, well, the left DC output is in off. The other side is in auto. I don't know what this is. It's a Sentry battery charger model Charlie 1205 November Lima, I think. Anyways, it's really old, to put it mildly. I have this. This is part of the inverter that came with the boat. I am getting more and more tempted to pick up a new inverter and just rip all this stuff out. This trip is going to be figuring out, you can see I already took the back panel off the breaker box. I have to trace all of this out. I need to find all of the bad cables and replace them like you see there. Oh my God, do I have a lot of work to do. That's the hose I'm planning to use for siphoning. However, it's also the line that's needed for the coolant reservoir, which had completely snapped off. So when I was sailing last summer under motor, well, that's not sailing, that's motoring. When I was motoring last summer, I didn't have an overflow reservoir for my coolant. I'm gonna be so damn glad to get rid of this engine. Anyway, that's that. What was I gonna show you down here? Yeah, I've started labeling things. My first part of tracing this is going to be just ripping things out. Oh yeah, the batteries, that's what I was going to show you. So, these appear to all be gels. That might be lead acid, I don't know. I think that's the starter motor, or the starter battery. That goes to the combiner. That's probably coming in from the... Okay, well anyways, I don't need to trace this while I'm talking to you guys. Little fuse, I like them. That's the A&L. Point is, I've got a battery here, and this, they all have these, yeah, it says 16.3 volts, which seems very high, but okay. Look at the connectors there. Like, it's a spade connector and it's barely connected, or it's coming out. This wire here is cracked and exposed. So this little battery monitor doohickey is kerfuckled. That one there has stuff going to it as well. Oh God, I have so much tracing to do. Point is, these batteries are what I'm hoping to keep, if they're still good. One of the things I was very happy about, totally off topic, I didn't think I had the table anymore for up on deck, for the up in the cockpit when you're sailing. Found it in storage. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Very happy about this. That needs a little bit of refinishing work, but that's not what I was going to show you. If I seem a little scattered and excited, it's because I am. Yoink! Okay. I think I can probably lift this up and show you. Yes, I can. So you can see, I've got two more gel batteries in here. I don't know if you can see this one. This one is reading error 01. I don't know if that's a fault with this or if because this battery is such low voltage it's not reading it. And I believe this one is showing 13.6 volts, which it's showing as a low battery, which, oh, 5% state of charge it thinks. So I'm guessing this battery is probably toast. Key thing is, if I take both of these out, this is on the port side, this is where I can put the new lithium iron phosphate 12-volt battery with 8 cells in a row, so doing a 2P4S. That's going to be this weekend's job, is I'm going to pull all these apart and figure out what the state of these batteries are. Here is the black water tank, which, well, where it used to be. So you can see I've got a fair bit of height there, but it slopes up towards the inside. I should be able to get a 4x4, like 2 deep, 2 deep, 4 across, 12-volt battery in here, and so I can get a 560 amp hour here using a 2P4S, 2P4S here for another 560 amp hours, and give me my full 14 kilowatt hours on the 12-volt side, which would be absolutely, positively awesome. I gotta pull that access hatch off. I'm random right now because I have lots of thoughts going through my head. Harsh lighting! That's slightly less harsh. I have a lot to do. I'm going to try to keep a complete, comprehensive video, but not let it get too long. This is going to be the first attempt at that. So where normally I would just turn off the camera and wait until tomorrow and then start doing this work, I'm going to actually end this video here. A fair bit I talked about. It's a preview of what's going to happen next work-wise. Next video, I'll actually get into it. So I'm Digital Mermaid, and we'll be talking real soon. Gusting up to 35 knots. My lines is getting into my neighbors. Woo. Okay, too chilly. To come back inside. Oh, I've not slept much the last night. It's been doing this for 24 hours. It's actually kind of fun.